Okay, it's Halloween 2010, and we just finished our night. And Peggy Boomertino is here with me. She was my friend, intercessor, and companion for the woman at the well. We passed out 106 bottles of water, which means we told over 106 people about the woman at the well and how Jesus gives living water. It was really cool. There was a lot of cool things.
There was.
There was a boy that was dressed like, well, he was all in black and just had a really scary, ghoulish mask. You couldn't see his eyes or anything like that. But he came up with another friend. I don't know what his friend was dressed as, but they were here before, and I said, you know, he told me the whole story. He said the whole story. The whole story. And his name's Michael. And I asked him, I told him I wanted to see his eyes, so he took his mask off, and he's like, do you remember me? Do you remember me from last year? He's like, I was the jester or whatever. And I didn't remember him, but I didn't tell him that. But he was very cool. I mean, a lot of the kids, anyways, he was very cool. Told the story, and his thing that he said that I wrote down that I remembered, that he said, I can't wait to see him. I can't wait to see Jesus someday.
Oh, wow.
And he just was thoughtful about it. It wasn't like something like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see him. He was just like, I can't wait to see him someday. And it was just so cool. There was another, a lot of the kids, because this is the 4th year that a lot of the kids...
You've been doing this how long, you said?
This is the 4th year, so this is 4 times. So a lot of the kids knew the story, so I would give them a chance to kind of tell the story. Sometimes they were wrong in really bad ways, but it was fun that they had remembered this and came, and a lot of them were looking forward to it, and a lot of other just believers coming by and saying that they were blessed by it and talk about it throughout the year, and then they were just encouraged by it. Lots of encouragement. There was one thing that kind of struck me was in a group there were various ages, but I asked all the kids what they wear, what they're dressed up as, and one girl, she was kind of she was a teenager, and she just looked like she's had a life already, a hard life. And she said, when I asked her what she was dressed as, she said that she was a pregnant teenager. And I said, oh, like that movie? What's that movie called? Juno or whatever? And she said, no, like for real. And I didn't really know what to say at that point, because it was obvious she wasn't thrilled about it. And so I probably said everything wrong. Like I said, congratulations. But I was being thoughtful about it. I wasn't like excited or giddy or anything, because she obviously wasn't. And so I went on to tell the story, and she didn't have any eye contact or anything with me. In fact, it was very clear there was a wall on her heart. Oh, that's cool. And so then they walked away, and it just was just like, it just kind of hit me, you know. She walked away, it was just, it just hit me, like that's just real life, you know. She's in a tough spot, and this is everything what the woman in the well was about, you know.
That's true.
And that the woman at the well had done all these wrong things, and still God would forgive her, that Jesus would still offer that living water. And to tell that story, and to not meet her gaze, to not see her eyes, for it not to whatever, was hard. And even as she walked by and I said goodnight, she just walked by and went like this. And that was just hard, and knowing that that it's, I don't know, like a tough exterior, like she's putting it up. But we just prayed, you know, when they walked past, we just prayed as they went down the street, just prayed destiny over that baby inside her, and destiny over her life, and the royal identity that she will assume someday. And but that was very sobering. But I think we know, I mean, we know that even though we may not see anything, we know that God is doing something. Right. And that He's using those words and that hope.
So Peggy, what did you think of tonight?
One thing that really struck me and was a blessing towards the very beginning was so many people that came by and said that they were actually seeking her out. They were actually seeking out the woman in the well. They were seeking out the lady with the water. They remembered her from other years, and they had heard it from other people. And so that was just, I thought that was really cool.
Cool.
That people are looking for it. Another thing was a woman who, as she stood in the back and Laura told the story, her son was filling in some of the answers, and she was pleasantly surprised that something actually sunk in. She said, "I'm glad to see that things sink in."
Huh.
And so and that's one of the things that we can always pray over people is that even if it doesn't seem like they've received the story, that something sunk in and stuck with them.
Right. Right. Very cool. So I got to see your bucket here. Is it completely empty at this point? Besides the candy we're taking out, so we've got. Earlier we took a picture of the thing we had. This thing all full. It was a Starbucks cup, but that's about it. It's completely empty. That is so cool.
Yeah, we had
Okay.
one. Well, we just grabbed this just for an extra, but we had our little bottles in there. But yeah,
Well
it was very
done.
cool. It's empty and 106.
106.
So I think it goes up every year, so that's very cool.
Very cool.
And there was a comment too that someone said, "Thanks for doing something spiritual
Yes.
on Halloween."
Yes.
That was cool. It was so great. I mean, the kids really remembered. You know, they're like, "Oh, yeah," or even as I started going, they'd be like, "Oh, I remember that story now. I remember." And to even prompt them, that's awesome. Even to prompt them into like filling in the words of the story. So like one boy who was dressed, I don't know, something death, and something like death, and for me to stop and say, and the woman met a man named, and then he would say Jesus, and it's just like, boom, you know.
Right.
I mean, life just happened, you know, broke through that death facade when he says the name Jesus. So it was cool.
Very cool.
There were lots of things.
Peggy, thank you very much.
It was a blast. I was glad to be part of it.
I was
Thank you.
glad to
Thanks
share
for
it with
having me.
someone. Yeah, it's
Very cool. All right. See you guys later.
Okay.
See you next.